Okay, we're back. So let's talk about guidelines. Because the way that I sketch really requires a super accurate grid, and I have not been able to get a super accurate grid using either a stencil or even a protractor, because as you move out with your vertical lines out the board, the lines wobble. They drift is a better word. They drift, and your errors multiply as you go out, just like with anything else on a mandala. And so as you get further out on the board with your grid lines, the mistakes, little mistakes, even, you know, if you use a stencil, the line in the stencil is wider than the pencil, so you can't get your pencil in exactly the same spot every time. When you do your ruler, a lot of times there's just natural human drift that occurs. So I don't use a stencil or a protractor anymore to do my grids. I use geometry. Now what that means is I can only do 6, 12, 24, 48 segment grids using the method that I use. So I just now only do 24 segment mandalas. You're gonna think I'm crazy going to all this trouble for the grid, but I promise you, I'll show you when we get to the sketching why it makes such a big difference. Spacing is, to me, has been one of the most challenging things to master as a mandala artist, and you probably can relate to that. So doing the grid this way eliminates any errors in spacing with the grid. You will have a perfect grid. So here's what you do. And I'm going to use a dark colored pencil, which probably will never wipe off this mandala, but at least you'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to take one for the team on that. So what you want to do is take your compass and open it up till it's almost to the edge of the board. Just about to the edge. And draw a circle. Leave your compass open that amount. Don't change the compass opening. You're going to go to any spot on that circle. Plant your compass needle. Go to the left and draw a little line that crosses that circle, and go to the right and draw a little line that crosses that circle. Now take your compass point and put it where the line that you just drew intersects the circle. You get it right on that point. And again, go to the left and make a line, and go to the right and make a little line. Then move over to the line you just drew where it intersects the circle. Perfectly on that spot. To the left, to the right. Now you see I just made an X there. That's what we're making X's. You'll see. Go to the next line. Go to the left, go to the right. And your X's should be perfectly crossing on the circle. Next line. Left, right, and then last one. Go to where that X intersects that line, go to the left and finish your X, and go to the right and finish your X. All right, now we want to connect our X's. This will give us 6 segments. I'm going to use a white pencil for my actual guidelines. So line your ruler up to where the X crosses, intersects, both X's and the center dot, line all three up perfectly, and draw your line. That's a really light line. I need to use a different color. Let me get a different color, a darker color. Go with gray. I'm real careful and slow and methodical when doing my grid. And again, when you see how I sketch, how we do our sketching, you'll understand why it matters so much. But even if you don't sketch like I do, it still is nice to have a perfect grid. All right. Okay. So now I have 6 segments, and what I need to do now is bisect each segment. So split it into perfectly, in half perfectly to give me 12 segments. So what you want to do is plant your compass needle where one of your guidelines intersects the circle. And you want to open it so that it's about halfway. So just estimate halfway. And draw kind of a big arc to the left and to the right, just like that. Okay? Then go to the next guideline where it intersects the circle. Keep your compass the same distance open. And now go to the right, and you see I just made an X, so now I don't need to make as big of an arc. I just wasn't sure where it was going to cross the X. So now I know it's going to cross about that green band, so I made one to the right, and now I can stay about in that green band to the left. And I can make a much smaller arc. Next guideline. To the right, to the left, and over. Just making our X's. These X's bisect the segment perfectly in half. I love geometry. Okay, and so now we are going to connect those. The center dot. Okay, so now we have 12. We just need to bisect one more time. We do it the same way. Plant your compass needle where it intersects the grid line. Close your compass now a little bit. And again, try to estimate the center of the segment to the left. Draw an arc that's pretty big to the left and to the right. Then move over one guideline. And now you see they intersect in that orange area. So I can just make a little arc in that orange area. And do that for each guideline. So yes, it takes a little more time, but to me it is super worth it. Plus I just kind of like doing geometry. This is actually, this method is based on the flower of life without getting too much into things, but it's the same concept as the flower of life. All right, and then connect your X's. And now you have a perfect 24 segment grid. When I first started dotting, I had a teacher from India. And she said that the only true mandalas have 24-point grids. They don't have 16 or 8 or 12. It's only 24. I don't know where she got that from, or if that's true in some areas or what, but she harped on that 24 segment grid. It does follow sacred geometry. A 24-point grid is a multiple of 6 and 12, which are numbers in sacred geometry that kind of form the basis of everything else. All right, so you see, when you do it with a stencil, when you look at the center, a lot of times your center, you can tell by looking at your center that your grid lines are off. But when you do it this way, you see they all go into the center perfectly. Okay, so now let's get some circles going here. And I'm gonna measure the circles for you because we need to all be on the same page. So let's do a circle starting at the center dot and on a guideline. Let's do every centimeter. So every centimeter make a mark. And then we'll all be on the same page. And I don't know if I mentioned that this is a 12-inch board. I think I did, but this is a 12-inch board. All right, and now draw your circles. I still use a compass for my circles. I don't use those rulers because I find those to be wobbly too. All right, I'm not gonna draw the first circle. I'm gonna start with the second circle. So the 2 centimeters out. I use MDF instead of birch, and I really love it. It's super smooth, but boy, does the compass do a number on it. I just fill in the hole with putty when I'm done, but it really grinds a hole in there. That is one benefit to using the magic ruler. So I take a little sanding stick and I sand the edges of that compass hole down, and then I will fill it with putty. I'll go ahead and do that now so it can dry. I use dry decks spackling. Any spackling will do, or whatever you use, wood filler, doesn't matter. And of course your center dot's gonna go there, so it's okay if it's not beautiful. Just don't want my dots sinking in, that's all. All right. Now, I thought we would, my last piece had this spiral kind of center, and let me just show you real quick. A lot of people really liked it, so I thought we would, this right here, so I thought we would replicate that. Because people seem to like it. So I might as well show you how to do it. All right. So I'm gonna switch over to my small compass. And I'm gonna use my dark pencil so you can see what's going on. All right, so we first of all, we're going to do a center dot with some rows of dots around that center dot first, and then we're going to do the spiral outside of that. So first we need to decide where do we want our rows of center dots to end. I shouldn't have puttied that circle yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go to the second circle. I'm going to mark it in blue. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to wait and putty later. Because I want to be able to mark circles that matter for you. So second circle. Now keep your compass open that same distance. So open your compass to the second circle. Put your needle on a grid line where it intersects that second circle. And starting at the circle, draw an arc that goes up to the line that you're on, and then pass that to the next line. So the arc starts at the circle, goes to the line that you're on. Let me get my hand out of the way. Goes to the line that you're on, and then pass that to the next line. Okay? Then again on this circle here, so you were here, back up 2 spaces, 1, 2, and do that again. I need to figure out how to get my hand out of the way. All right, so I was right here. So back up 2 spaces. I'll try to do this left-handed. Starting at the circle. Making an arc that goes to the line that you're on and past it. Can't do that left-handed. Sorry, guys. But I think you get the idea. 1, 2. One, 2. Let's do that all the way around. Until you complete. Okay? Fun. Love me some geometry. All right. Now, we need a circle that is right outside of this design. And if you're exactly where I am, then you've got a little space before the circle comes up, which is fine, but I just want to add one more circle closer to the design. So I'm going to come in here, right outside the design, and make a circle. Because we are going to be putting some rows of dots here, just like 2 or 3 rows of dots in this space here. And again, and just for reference, that circle that I just made was 6.5 centimeters roughly. Now, I don't want to do a bunch of rows of dots because this is only a 12-inch board. So I don't want to go all the way to this circle here with my dots. So I want to kind of split that in half. So I'm going to tell you right about there. So open your compass up to 7 3/4 centimeters. 7.5 is fine. 7.5 centimeters, and make a circle. Now we are going to put rows of dots in between this line and this line. Should have room for 2 rows, probably not more than 2. Especially if you made yours at 7.5. All right, so now I'll try to stop making random circles from here on out. I normally use a Boheen mechanical chalk pencil for my sketching, but you won't be able to see it. But I like it because it gives me nice, really thin lines that the cone lines then cover up nicely. That didn't sharpen. All right, so let's go ahead and draw some petals. And don't worry, I said draw, don't freak out. We're going to make it very easy. So we are starting on that circle. I'm sorry, we're starting on the circle that we just made, the one that's 7.5 centimeters. So we're starting at that circle. Let's use up 2 segments. And let's draw a petal half a petal that looks like that. So what you're going to do is, you're starting at this circle here that you just made. We are going to go between 2 segments. You're drawing half a petal, starting at that circle and going up. You've got 1 circle there that we have made originally. 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 circles up is where you're going to bring it to a point. Right? Just like that. So you see that circle there that was, you should have it there too. And then 2, 3, 4. All right, then you want to take a piece of stencil paper. You want to get this at least 6 mils thick. I get it from Amazon. You might can find it at Michael's or Walmart, I'm not sure. I just order it from the Zon. All right, so lay your stencil paper down. Now you can see the guidelines through the stencil paper. I want you to mark the line it's going to go up through the middle of our petal, like that. And then mark where a circle, any circle, intersects that line. And then come over here and find any place that a circle intersects a guideline and make a plus sign. So I picked that circle right there that intersects with this guideline over here. Now trace your petal, and you're getting ready to find out why it's so important that the grid be accurate. So you're going to trace your petal with a Sharpie, fine tip Sharpie. And cut it out like so. You just want to cut along the petal line. Okay, so this was what we traced here. Now when you flip it over, line up that line and the circle where they intersect, and see over here that circle, that plus sign lines up where the circle intersects. So I know I'm perfect now. This is gonna be exactly symmetrical. And trace it with your pencil. And there's my petal. We're gonna go all the way around the board doing that. Not gonna skip guidelines. I'm gonna keep this design relatively simple. So again, I line up my points of reference, starting on that circle here that we just put in there. Do one side. Now, if my grid's not perfect, then my hash marks, my marks won't line up. And I'll lose my symmetry. Okay. So there we go. And let's keep working. Okay, now I want to put some arcs here. So I've got my compass. And what you're going to do is you're going to, let me see what's a good guideline to use. Just a minute. Okay, so you're going to use the guideline that's at the bottom of the petal, the circular guideline that's at the bottom of the petal, where it intersects with the vertical guideline. You're going to open or close your compass so that it's just underneath the circle that's at the top of your petal. And you're going to draw an arc that looks like this. That's it. So come over to the next between the two petals, leave your compass open the same distance, and just draw an arc. And do that between every petal, between all the petals. Okay. Now, we have the circle here, that's at the top of our petals, and then you've got another one, the next circle up. We are going to put some rows of dots between those two circles there. And I am not on the board, not on frame, sorry. So you have this circle here that's at the top of the petals, and then you have your next circle. We're going to put rows of dots between those two circles. So leave that space alone. And we're going to start our next element then on this circle here. And let's put it, let me see, what do I want to do? Let me think for a minute. I'm just going to play sketch for a minute. It's going to put me on every guideline. It's going to give me that weird shape. Do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. think I want to do a big wide petal here. So I want to take up 3 guidelines. Doesn't matter where you put them because they're not gonna, because we're using 3 guidelines now, we're not gonna be able to put like one in between these petals. They're gonna be offset. So pick any 3 guidelines, it doesn't matter. 3 segments, so 1, 2, 3. So that's my working space, okay? And I'm gonna make a petal that's going to, you need to find, get to your outermost circle. It's the one you drew to do your grid. Outermost circle, and split it down the middle. Eyeball it, but try to get as accurate as you can. And remember, we're starting on this circle here. We're starting on this circle here. And, oops, this circle here. Going between here and here. So draw your half a petal that goes right to that vertical guideline, swings around and comes up to a point. So like this. All right. And then stencil it. Get your stencil paper. And mark some of your intersecting points. All right, and then trace your petal. Like that. And cut it out. This is a really simple design that we're doing. For one thing, on a 12-inch board, there's just really not a lot of space to play. All right. And then trace your petal. Line up your marks. And trace it. Make sure you're starting on the right circle each time. If you get stencil sheets that are thinner than 6 mils, they won't hold they'll bunch up as you're trying to run your pencil up against them. They will kind of collapse on you. You don't want super thick either, just because they're more expensive and not necessary, but 6 mils I find is perfect. All right, so there we go, we're all sketched out. There's our mandala. Oh, I want to put some arcs between these petals as well. So take your compass, go to the bottom of the petals, circle. So this circle right here, where it intersects the guideline. Open or close your compass to just inside this circle out here. And actually, I want it wider than that. All right, back up. Go to the bottom of these petals, to that circle where it intersects the guideline. So this circle here, it's at the bottom of these middle petals. Open your compass up to that outermost circle and draw a big wide arc. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, so move your compass over to the guideline that's between the next set and draw your arc. And do that between all your sets of petals on the outside there. Okay, now we're sketched out. So I'll come back and we'll outline our shapes, and we're getting there. So I'll see you next one.